Hey everybody, welcome to the Village Guys show. For those of you joining for the first time, here we chat to people from Paarl and Wellington doing amazing things, but we also chat to people from Paarl and Wellington abroad. One of those individuals is Desiree Davids, and how she got my attention. I mean, we all had the World Cup fever, and I saw a few photos on Facebook with Desiree standing with Kane and Moody and some of the guys from Paarl, and I was wondering why is Desiree Davids standing with him? So I did some digging and I found out that she was part of the choreography for the welcoming party for the Springboks. So I want to find out, what she's doing in France, why is she doing choreography, and just, what's life like in France, what the big dreams are, and whether we're going to see her in Paul anytime soon. So let's chat to Desiree Davids and find out more about her. Good afternoon or good morning. What do I say to Desiree in France?
Well, now it's officially afternoon. Well, it's we are 1 hour behind you, so
Okay.
it's just after midday.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Madam, thanks so much for your time.
it's an absolute pleasure.
Who is Desiree David? What is Desiree David's doing in France? And why are we doing dancing and choreography?
Well, I think the first thing to mention is a big thank you to the schools in Paarl, William Lloyd, and especially the principal when I was there, Mr. David Samai, and then also New Orleans Secondary School. And at the moment when I was there, it was Mr. Latif, the
Mm.
principal. For these persons, really a big thank you who introduced me and continued with dance as a subject at the high school. And yeah, the passion of dance really started there. And also for all the teachers and their push and encouragement for the students to think big and follow their dreams. So it started in Paarl. It started with William Lloyd, and then went on to obviously New Orleans Secondary School, and most importantly, my parents who continue to support me in a profession that was very unstable at that time. Yes. So that's a very brief introduction. So my parents,
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Dulcie and Joseph Davids from Charleston Hill.
Are they still here in Paul? Are they
Yeah,
still living here?
yes, they're still living there. All my family is still in South Africa. So a big, big, big plus for me and very big moment for me was also having my brother, my youngest brother, Dr. Jody Davids, with his family here to watch the opening match of the Springboks together in Marseille. So that was, yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome to share that moment with
Yeah,
him.
so Desiree, tell me, how does a dancer from Paul land up in France?
Well, I love traveling, and it was just traveling and dancing. So obviously, I tried to work hard and as much as possible to bring those two together. And so I started directly after school, after leaving New Orleans. I went to UCT and did my teacher's diploma and performance certificate in dance from the University of Cape Town. I then left to Durban, where I danced in the company, NAPAC, the old NAPAC, now the Playhouse Dance Company, where I worked for 6 years, then went to Pretoria and worked with a state theatre dance company, and then went on to create my own company with another choreographer. So we, yeah, I created, so this company was formed together, and we started traveling, traveling, performing around the world after winning a choreography competition. So that really introduced me to the possibilities of working and traveling abroad. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, so out of all the countries in the world, how do we land up in France?
Ooh, but we have a bit of a history with France because, I mean, we worked a lot with the Institut Français, the French Institute in South Africa. And performed in France a lot. So I had quite a few connections in France, which made it obviously easier to work and finally implant myself here.
So what does your company do? So is it a dancing company? Are you a teacher? Are you a choreographer? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I started out as a dancer. I still dance even at this age. So, but yes, it's a company. So it's a company that doesn't have a permanent base. So I basically am the choreographer and I work with various dancers that depending on each project, I choose dancers that I would like to work with, and then look for spaces to work. So I then apply for funding, I search for co producers, I spend a lot of time meeting theaters, theater directors, festival directors in order to co produce and to perform at the festivals and find spaces to rehearse. So at this point, yeah, I work a lot in Toulon and Marseille.
Yeah.
I'm based between the two, so I work a lot with theaters based in these two cities.
So I mean, it must be a special request if you get a phone call and they ask Desiree to be involved with the welcoming of the Springboks to France, and of course you're going to see a lot of hometown heroes. You're going to meet a lot of Springbok supporters. How does that happen? How does Desiree get a call to be part of the choreography of the welcoming occasion?
Yeah. Well, it was very. I mean, I was very very happy, obviously, to get this invitation. Just so that also just for information, so the company is based in this region, and it has the support, the government support of the department and the cities around. Uh, and we are quite lucky in that case is that we do get the company, even though the company is very young in France, just over 6 years, it has government support. So they know me, they know the work of the company and the quality of the company. So when the South African team was based basically really just 10 minutes away, I think it was the obvious choice to have as a South African choreographer that was based really just next door, to ask me to choreograph a
Yeah.
performance.
So I mean, so explain to me what was France like for a whole month. I mean, it's buzzing. The whole world's eyes is on France, and of course, your home team wins the tournament as well. I mean, what is France like during the World Cup, and then also after the World Cup, because the hosts didn't win it, and South Africa makes history with back to back. Yeah, what's the vibe like? What's the atmosphere like for the month?
It was an incredible atmosphere with everybody really positive and yes, obviously there was a lot of high hopes for the French team, and it's been quite a tough choice also and decision because the Cheslin Colby from the Springboks and Gabin Villiers that finally did not really play as much during for the French. They are both in the patrons of our rugby dance project that we actually developed through the year. And so, yeah, we've been a bit torn. So with the French, really disappointed, very, very disappointed. I had to also manage a little bit my excitement and just joy to scream and shout and to be happy. So I had to manage a little bit my excitement when the team won. But I mean, everybody is very happy. Everybody is very happy, even though very disappointed here, obviously, that the French team didn't get as far. It's just a pity that they met in the quarterfinals and
Yeah.
not in the finals. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, what is France like? What's how's it to live there? Can you speak a bit of the French? Yeah, what's the culture like? So we do these interviews for people of Paarl and Wellington just to have insight into how it is to live overseas, but also to love to hear it from people that lived around the corner or lived in the same neighborhood. Yeah, what's it like there? I mean, you said you've been there 6 or 7 years now.
Well, permanently 6 years, but uh, but I have been living between the two countries for more than 16 years. France,
Yeah,
it's good, but it's a lot of hard work. It's extremely expensive. So yeah, it's I mean, it's continuous work, like everywhere, especially in this profession as a dancer, choreographer, anything in the arts. Um, it's there's a great support culturally, but you have to work. You have
yeah,
to work nonstop in order to get funding, to secure funding, to pay the dancers.
yeah,
I also teach in schools, so and the university. So yeah, you
yeah,
find ways to substitute and to find income, but it's not easy.
yeah. But I mean, this is why you're having fun.
Oh yes. No,
And
I love it here. I do love it here, and I think it's important to mix cultures. I think it's important, and this is why also the project, the performance that we did for the openings, for the welcoming ceremony of the Springboks, I really brought people together from not just professional dancers but amateurs, old, really over a range of ages, of backgrounds, and
mm,
that is still a very important part of my work is to is inclusion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, if you had to ask, if you had to look back and you look at your 20-year-old self, would you have seen yourself sitting in the position that you're sitting today?
Um, I think in a way, yes, not particularly in this specific position, but the dream has always been to to travel and to be somewhere else and to
Mm,
give that opportunity also. And this is why I, I I'm very happy when family can come and visit and I can
yeah,
go back because it's a privilege to be able to do that. It is something that I've always wanted to do, and I will keep traveling. Who
yeah,
knows? Maybe in 5 years' time, or I will not be in France, but in another country. We see. I do love traveling, so and I think it's we learn so much
mm,
from different cultures and being in another country, really living there, experiencing,
yeah,
uh, teaches us a lot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I've got a few questions for you just to get to know Desiree Davids a bit better. So it's some quick short questions. Um, yeah. So who do you miss the most currently when you're in France?
Who do I miss the most?
Yes.
Ooh, my mom and her home cooking. Mm.
What gets you excited these days? What makes you excited?
Ah, by the possibility and the need to reinvent myself.
Hmm.
I think we live in a world where it's current change, and some people, I mean, get scared of change. But yeah, I get scared, but I'm also quite excited. I get excited about the possibility of change and what it can bring.
Yeah, yeah. And what worries you the most nowadays about the world?
Individuality, that power. It's just I think uh, the way that everyone is hanging on to power, and it's becoming very individualistic, and there's less and less community,
Hmm.
I think, and the openness towards others.
Hmm.
It's that's the part that worries me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, the connection
Uh,
is lost, humanity towards yeah, each other.
when are you in your happy space?
Ooh, when I'm in nature.
Okay. All right.
When I'm in nature.
So if you had to win the lotto today, what's the first thing you're buying tomorrow?
First thing I buy tomorrow. Uh, I will buy tickets for my family and those really close to me to travel the world.
What opens your eyes when you travel the world? So, of course, we live in Paarl. Not, I mean, you're very privileged to go out of Paarl if you ever are in your lifetime. Um, what, why would you encourage people to experience other countries, experience other cultures, and what does it to you as a person or the next traveler? What's the impact of it?
Well, you after experiencing and living with others and experiencing other cultures, you look at yourself in a different way. You look at yourself and your difficulties, because sometimes we get so bogged down and we think, oh, we have so many problems, and we yeah, we don't see ourselves or our difficulties uh, in relation to others and experiences in the world. And sometimes you realize that actually we are not as bad off, or actually we can see our problems in another way, or work out our problems or our difficulties, or we see the positive things in our lives. So yeah, I think it makes you reflect really on your environment and looking at your situation very differently.
Yeah. And when Desiree is not in the studio dancing and choreographing, what is Desiree doing in France?
Looking at funders, co-producers, meeting people. No, but I really love going into nature and walking. So I do a lot of walking activity. Go to theater performances. Now that I can understand French fluently, I go and see quite a, yeah, I go to theater productions and dancing, obviously, dance productions and expositions.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
So what is a pinch myself moment in Desiree's life? Like, wow, Desiree, this is really happening to me.
When I was standing next to the captain, Sia Kulisi, and the team singing the national anthem, that was really a
Wow.
very, very special moment for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Role model? Okay, pause.
My, no, no, no. My
Oh,
father for his
okay,
patience.
right.
My father for his patience, and um, you know, he once told me when I was just so worried about things and I was stressed, and he said to me that stressing about this problem will not help you. It will just make you even more ill. So
Yeah,
for me, he's those words about just to take it one step at a time, to to really, yeah, try not to stress, even
yeah,
though we all stress at a time, but to be patient and to take to take one step at a
yeah,
time.
right. And would you consider that your best piece of advice? Because that was my next question.
Yes, really,
Okay.
it's been very, very helpful because I mean, like I said, this is not a very easy profession. So
Mhm.
it's not a very stable profession. So you never know if you're going to have funding, if you're going to have a job for the next income for the next couple of months. Sometimes it's a lot at once. Sometimes there's a dry period. So yeah, it's advice that I keep reminding myself of
Yeah.
very often.
What would you tell your 21-year-old self?
Keep dreaming.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
even for even now. It's we must not stop dreaming. Yeah.
Oh, do you consider some of your dreams sticked already in your lifetime?
Yes, but there's still many, 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 many more.
Yeah, because
Many.
that's
There's the whole world map still, stuck,
yeah,
and I still have to tick off quite a few little countries, and I hope
yeah,
in my lifetime I will be able to travel. So,
yeah. So what is an immediate big dream? So except traveling, what's a more what, in your profession? What's next on Desiree's Keefstok, if you know what that means in Afrikaans though.
yeah. Well, I'm really working and trying as much as possible to work with local dancers here, which whom I've discovered during the World Cup and when I was working with some non-professional dancers, uh, and also to continue building the link between South Africa and France. So for me, if anything, I really would like to get this bridge and get a flow flowing between the two countries.
Yeah. So if I rock up in France and you've got one day to show me around in France, if you have to take me to 3 or 4 places, where's Desiree taking me and what are favorite places?
Well, immediately, I mean, they are very historical. Obviously, it's somewhere in nature. So whether it's around here, it's because it's in the south, which we are close to the Mediterranean, and it's Lake Kalonk. So it's very beautiful for walks and nature. So definitely an outing in nature. Also the old cities because it's just amazingly beautiful to see an old city historically, the old walls
Yeah.
and how the cities were built. There are many little, like we say, bijoux in the region, that is really, it's an experience to see uh, the um, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, just the ingenuity
Mm.
of people at that time already in architecture, yeah, and the
Mm.
innovation. It's so. So really historical, old, the small villages for sure. Obviously, in nature somewhere we have a small island where you can just go and visit. You can take the
Nice.
canoe and the paddle, because we are it's sporting. So you go and you paddle just across, and you can go and have a very quiet time picnic in a very small little place with beautiful waters. So that, of course, and then some of the amazing theaters, obviously around that we have here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what gets Desiree out of bed every morning?
Ah, the what gets me out of bed every morning is the gratitude to be in this place, to be with people that I'm very fortunate to have a lot of support from family and friends, amazing family, amazing friends, who's always there to support me, and I hope that I'm always there to support them. Yeah, it's the human contact more than anything else, and the human relationship that
Yeah.
makes me get up.
Yeah. And I mean, lastly, of course, this is a type of a inspirational motivation platform for the kids out there. So we've got a Desiree David's Day in die stadsaal hier in die Hofstraat in Paarl. And you, of course, know there's a lot of talent in Paarl, a lot of dancers, a lot of actors, sport, and we've got a lot of youngsters coming to listen to Desiree David's story. What are you? Yeah, I mean, you've been doing it for quite some time. I mean, from Paarl up into France, hosting the Springboks in France. What are you telling the New Orleans kid, the Lantana kid, the Amstelhof kid? What are you telling them?
Don't let anybody stop you from achieving what you want. Keep your dreams. It's important to know that you need a lot of work, but follow your passion. That's the most
Mm,
important, is follow your passion, because if you're
mm,
passionate about something, you will do whatever it takes to realize your dreams and to work hard. So follow your passion, whatever it takes,
mm,
and take into consideration others. You cannot achieve anything on your
mm,
own.
mm, mm. Geez, some wise words all the way from France. When I found out about you, I was like, okay, but there's nothing about Desiree here. I can't even find. Like normally, you can Google someone's name and you find, okay, there's enough. But so much is happening with Desiree, but I can't like find anything.
Oh well, I'm not really technical. It's something that I've been forced to do,
Mm,
because nowadays everything is Instagram,
mm,
and even when I was teaching here at the school,
mm,
and the one of the little kids saying to me, "But madam, you don't have I think it was a TikTok account." They couldn't
mm.
understand why I didn't have a TikTok account. But yeah, so I'm not really. I've been doing it specifically because of work,
Yeah,
because nowadays you do have to have Facebook, Instagram,
yeah.
and all of that. But I've been a late starter, and I must admit I don't particularly have. I don't post every day or put everything
Yeah.
about me online. I'm still very old fashioned when that comes to
Yeah.
when it comes to
Well,
that.
but I mean, at least you're replying to my DMs on Instagram. So I mean, that's one, not always like a week after each other, but I mean, at least you're replying. Okay, so Desiree, so you are going to say in French, you're going to say, um, it was such a real pleasure chatting to Miles on the Village Guy. And what else can we say? It was such a nice pleasure speaking to Miles, like the Village Guy. And look, and I look forward to the interview coming soon. Something like that in French.
OK. C'était un absolument plaisir de parler avec Miles, euh, de Paarl et le Village Guy. Et what was the word? I look forward to. Et j'attends avec impatience le prochain interview avec Miles.
Now, all I know is je m'appelle Miles.
Very good. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Au revoir. Bye bye.
Au revoir. Bye bye. Yes, very good.
Thanks, Desiree.